Welcome, Cyclone fans, to another edition of the Nightcap. I'm your host, Aiden White, coming at you from God's country tonight, back home in Rhinebeck. T.S. Levi, how we doing?
Sitting over here in the superior part of the state, Dubuque County.
Did you know that the art of picking your nose is called rhinotolexomania?
I did, actually. I just heard that on TikTok.
I found that super interesting.
It is.
Also, God's country is right here in the Ames, Iowa, right next to Jack Trice Stadium and Hilton Coliseum. So your Eastern Iowa folk that might be listening, hate to offend you, but Rhinebeck can blow it and freaking Cascade can shove it up their ass.
Rhinebeck is not even like nobody cares about Rhinebeck. Let's be honest here.
Mr. Cascade.
2016 state champions,
2015 and 16.
Gladbrook Rebels.
Also, we won state in basketball the year before that. So
it's all Gladbrook.
And nobody remembers.
Gladbrook remembers.
Gladbrook remembers. All right. So what are we talking about today, Aiden?
Figured we'd say goodbye to some seniors, so it might be a sad episode.
Yeah.
Hope you got your tissues ready.
I don't. I have a Truly.
That'll work.
Don't cry.
Talk some Iowa State basketball too. Big games coming up this week. Tomorrow, first real test. So we'll see what happens.
Against Xavier.
Yeah.
And that is at Xavier, correct?
It's in New York.
That's right. It's in Brooklyn. It's in Brooklyn. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's in Brooklyn.
Preseason NIT.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, the last time Iowa State played in Brooklyn was against South Carolina, Frank Martin's South Carolina team, and we got our ass kicked.
Yep.
Well, there
nice.
Could be a potential.
Nice little recall from me there. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I remember because I was in a bar. I was watching it in a bar because I was back here in Cascade or whatever, because I didn't live in Cascade at the time. But I was back here for Christmas maybe or something like that, and I was just sitting in the bar, just getting hammered, watching Iowa State get their shit rocked by South Carolina and Brooklyn.
Could Cascade really be God's country if you haven't lived there the entire time?
I mean, I couldn't go to school there because there is no college here. But.
That doesn't seem like it's our problem.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Aiden, who's our sponsor for today?
I was about to say that. Thank you to a sauce bar and grill. Levi, what are their deals?
Oh, I guess I'm doing the ad read. Aiden's supposed to be conducting this train, and he's just like, "Oh, you can do it." Sauce Bar and Grill is open down in Campus Town in Ames. They've got Burger Wednesday, Taco Tuesday, FAC specials after class on Friday. They've got 11 to 3 unlimited tacos every day for $8, which is an incredible deal. Still got their delicious tater tots, burgers, all that good stuff. They have also have game day specials on Saturdays, whether it's home or away. Obviously, there's only one home game left, but then for the bowl game, they'll have specials for that as well. So definitely head on down there for some delicious food and some ice cold beverages, including an absurd quantities of a Stas Punch. So yeah, it's a good place.
I'm actually living behind a Stas next year, so that could be.
Stas is Aiden's living in the alleyway behind a Stas next year.
Yeah, just a cardboard box.
Yeah, that's where we put him.
So a real man would live inside a Stas.
That's wide right That's wide right intern housing. it's like a cardboard box behind a Stas. That's where that's the free room and board that comes with it with the wide right intern gig. We'll even give you the box.
If you're living in a box in an alleyway behind a Stas, I'll just cruise by in the car and do like the Nelson laugh from The Simpsons, and then just drive off.
There you go. Oh, what do we think?
Rehash last week.
Do we want to rehash last week?
Listen to this. All right. I got a beef. I got a beef kind of with Cyclone fans on all spectrums of the thinking of the ideology of the ones that are happy with 6 and 5 because of where the program was well before then, and B, also the ones that are never happy. So, okay, first of all, here's my beef with the 6 and 5 people that are just into like, oh, look, we're 6 and 5. Think about where the program's been. That, we're happy to be here because, we've won 3 games in so many years in a row and never gotten anything. And I said that's just a bullshit excuse for masking up that the team like missed a benchmark. I think.
There's some level of bargaining. Bullshit. There's some level of bargaining that has to go on to get to that, where you have to say, where like you set these goals, and if you don't make it there, well, it could always be worse type of things. Like, well, you're right, but that, like, yes, it could be worse.
I think
it could also be better,
but it could also be better.
Here's my thinking behind this, because like, while I do appreciate the fact that Iowa State's going to play in another bowl game, right? So in my time of college, Iowa State played in, I don't know, just 2 bowl games. After graduating college, Iowa State went to was 3-9 continually over and over and over again, and then maybe 1, 2, and 10 season, whatever. I also, before didn't endure the 70s, 80s, and the 90s. Yeah. I was a child or whatever, and didn't really have that kind of brutality either. So I get it. I get that fact that we're thinking that 6-5, remember where the program's been, fine. But I also, on the flip side, that Matt Campbell has built up the roster that in week in and week out that you are competing with the likes of Oklahoma, who has dominated this conference for the last freaking forever. I think it's a mediocrity thinking that you're happy with 6-5 when you have a roster and a coach that is capable of competing at the national level year in and year out. Sometimes it's okay to be disappointed with missing expectations. And as a fan base, I think that's probably the next step to be as a bigger program, okay, yeah, we can expect more year in and year out and not go back to well, it could be worse because just think about what happened in 1994. Nobody gives a shit about that anymore.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Let it fucking go. This right. is 2021. Iowa State is 6-5 when they were picked second to finish second in the Big 12 conference, a year removed from being in the Big 12 title game with the same exact team and your most decorated quarterback and probably your best running back in the history of Iowa State, and you're 6-5. You got to look at something now. I don't know. I'm happy. Iowa State has been 5 straight bowl games. That's great. But I'm also very pissed off that stupid shit happened that led them back to 6-5, and it shouldn't have happened.
And it was a lot of stupid shit too. The first two losses being special teams or whatever. It's that should be buttoned up. The idea to me that you're not just not great at special teams, but actively bad, is weird to me. You should never be to the point where special teams is a net negative. I don't know how you get to that point, but Iowa State was at that point at the beginning of the season. I mean, I think it seems like they've shored it up quite a bit since then. Special teams is either a net neutral or even sometimes a net positive at this point. They got special teams shored up, and Andrew Mevis being Andrew Mevis is a big help. Helps take care of a lot of that. And Corey Dunn kind of randomly becoming the pooch punter. But
as far as he can kick it,
right? Well, yeah, without something going terribly wrong. But then you got the Baylor. Then you got the West Virginia game. Now Mike Rose was gone, but that shouldn't happen when one player was gone. I mean, that just shouldn't happen.
Nope.
And I don't have a good explanation for Texas Tech. They just played well. Texas Tech had a good game plan. They hit the big gas field goal, all that, and then
Iowa
Oklahoma
State forgot to show up before the fourth quarter.
Right, and then Oklahoma. Oklahoma's a good team. You're playing in Norman, but I mean, I kind of felt like we probably should have won that game.
Well, I mean, we're one freak play at the end of the first half from.
Right. Yeah,
We
and some crazy luck, some crazy fumble luck for Oklahoma, where that one where they pick it up and just right in and then Will McDonald strip sack that goes right to the Oklahoma player in the end zone, in their own end zone, stuff like that. That going to an Iowa State player ties it up. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard, but at the same time, the offense wasn't there. They'd really struggled running the ball the last two games. So I mean, now the offensive line struggling is not a new problem. I mean, they had struggled all season, but last week it really came to a head where Oklahoma just said, "Screw it, we're just going to go zero blitz all the time." They brought 5, 6, 7 guys all the time, and It's just all, so like maybe that was the first loss that it wasn't just stupid shit or whatever, but like, and it was an actual like thing that needs to get fixed as opposed to just dumb mental errors or whatever else it is. But like the offensive line, like it was so good last year and now it's regressed. Like it's not just regressed. Like, I mean, it's like significantly worse than it used to be. And I don't know. It's really disheartening to see that, especially when like we heard during the offseason, we heard a lot of praise for guys like Jeff Myers or whatever, like that he's kind of an up and coming star in the coaching world and all this. We heard lots of praise for him, and like this should be Iowa State's best line in a long time. Well, now we're watching this. Daryl Simmons can't block anybody. Jared Hufford is getting penalties and just getting shithoused all the time. Like he's committing terrible penalties. He's false starting. He's doing all sorts of shit. He's doing like second quarter. That guy should have been gone. Like I don't know
he had over 5 negative plays, whether
right.
It was penalties or missed tackle. Over 5. Like I just stopped counting after 5 because he had at least what
by himself
down the field twice.
He was down the field twice. He had an illegal chop block. He had a couple false starts. I mean he probably had 6, 7, 8, maybe even 8. Negative plays that were entirely because of him, and it was just crazy to me.
Colin Newell's had his negative moments.
Trevor Downing had a false start.
Trevor Downing has had his negative moments throughout the season. The only one that really hasn't had like a huge like negative moment that you could really point out would be Derek Schweiger.
He did have one last week though, that where he got toasted on one of them.
Well, yeah.
But like generally speaking, he's been solid. Yeah. He's been solid for the most part, but like everybody else, and Colin Newell has been solid for the most part, but he's had his negative moments. But like last week, Daryl Simmons had a bad time, and Jared Hufford somehow had a worse time.
We're looking at some of these guys. Like Colin Newell was projected at the beginning of the season to be a 4th round draft pick. Like that's not happening anymore.
No.
Any hope that these guys had a draft stock before season is now out the window.
I mean, he was largely considered to be the second best center in the country outside of Tyler Linderbaum at Iowa. Like Colin Newell was regarded as the second best center in college football or whatever. And now he's not anywhere close to that anymore. I don't know. That whole group regressing as far as it has is really frustrating. And I don't know what the solution is. Cause you're going to lose Colin Newell, and you're going to lose Derek Schweiger. So you're going to lose your 2 guys that are most consistently solid, at least. And Sean Foster's gone. And
Schweiger, you just replace him with Jake Remsburg, and then Newell,
right.
It's probably going to be Joey Ramos as a replacement. But that's a year from now. It could be totally different because I don't know. You
get some young guys in the program too.
So Ramos he played pretty good last year when he was actually in. So him being at right tackle doesn't really worry me at all. But
you think they'll put Remsburg at the left tackle?
No, right tackle.
Schweiger's at right tackle.
Yeah, but when he's gone next year.
Right. So what are you doing? So you putting Ramos on left tackle?
Ramos will be center, and then Hufford's going to be left tackle if he gets better.
I forgot that Ramos had slid inside. I forgot about that. Mm-hmm. But I don't.
Nice.
Yeah, Jared Hufford being the permanent left tackle next year worries me.
But there's also There's also Triber too. So,
but what's worth noting though is that we have a lefty quarterback in now, so it kind of flips to where the right tackle is a lot more important than the left tackle, or whatever. You still need them both, but like
Jake Remsburg, come on down.
So now Jake Remsburg has to be your primary lineman that's really taking care of the blind side, which is better than Jared Hufford to my estimation at this point.
Protecting the blind side, you say, huh? You should call a certain Michael Orr.
Yeah. Well, then you got Daryl Simmons over on that side. That he's the right. I'm assuming he'll still be the right guard, and then you'll still have Trevor Downing at left guard. Not that I don't like Trevor Downing, but I don't know. The offensive line's gonna.
The whole offensive line could be totally different from what we're talking about right now.
It could be. It could be.
There could be some coaching changes.
It could be. I mean, there's gonna have to be some changes. I mean, they can't just keep what's got going on. I mean, there's
I'm accustomed to seeing offensive ineptability on Sundays from Matt Nagy and the Bears. Yeah, ineptitude.
Yeah, sell the team.
I don't need to freaking see it on Saturdays too. All right, let's get our shit figured out.
Well, I mean, even if you say, well, Tom Manning, the offense was still pretty good this year. Statistically they were pretty good, even if the play calling was just befuddling at sometimes. but like the offense still put up decent numbers this year and all whatever. So you say, well, he can get, but like if you're like Jeff Myers, like if for Jeff Myers, the offensive line coach, you look at that. I mean, like there's a dramatic regression from last year. I mean, you can't. I mean, like that is a directly like that is something that he is supposed to take care of. Is that offensive line that has a billion snaps under their belt and not letting them regress.
Right.
That's his job.
I have an idea. New offensive line coach, Mark Mangino. He's the size of the lineman, so he's got that step down.
There you go. There you guys got that part down.
2 linemen.
He's the size of 2 linemen. He could teach 1 lineman to block like 2.
I mean, and I'm not like up on like who would be a good offensive line coach. I don't know
is anybody really like so like the NFL, like you could go in and like pick out assistants, like, all right, that guy's been an offensive line coach here, now he's this, but now we're gonna fire him from the Bears, but he's gonna go be offensive line coach of the Vikings. Like you could do that. College, you're like,
you kind of got to know who you got to really have an in-depth knowledge of who's who in the coaching industry, and as far as like who's coming up through the ranks and stuff, like you get really
Dan Mullen.
Like Dan Mullen to coach the offensive line. But like you got to have like for college, I mean, you can look at head coaches and even coordinators and be like, okay, this person might make a good coordinator, or this person might make a good head coach. That's a lot easier to pick out. But like, you know, finding position coaches in college is like a total crapshoot.
There's probably a database out there, and like
I'm sure there is
stuff like, but we just don't pay attention. Like it's not.
I'm sure like
widely known like it does. It's the NFL.
I'm sure Campbell's got his list of guys that he kind of keeps in his contact list or whatever of, oh, these are guys that might make for good offensive line coaches and all this or whatever.
I'm just saying I'm available and I can teach blocking, and I wouldn't teach it the way we're blocking today. So therefore, I already got to step up for the job.
Well, and there was some speculation too, because I believe they switched blocking schemes coming into this season, and it's not going well.
I don't really see anything terribly different from the blocking scheme, and even if they did change up something little, like here's the thing that doesn't make sense to me from a coaching standpoint too. Like if you actually did go and change the blocking scheme from something that worked the season ago, why?
Yeah, why?
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like,
yeah, there's no reason to change it.
You had a 1,500-yard rusher from a season ago in less games that they're playing this year.
You know what we should do?
Change everything.
Change the blocking. Let's change the blocking. Yeah. Like, obviously something's wrong. Let's change the blocking.
That's like, I mean, I get like, that's like going in and like Tom Manning's the offensive coordinator this year, but he's gone next year. Let's just say he's gone. No way reporting this or whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no scoop or anything like that. Just a hypothetical.
But then we hire Navy's head coach to be the offensive coordinator and switch to the freaking triple option.
Let's do it.
It's the best play in football.
Like that's kind of like that. Like just dumb.
Yeah.
Like don't change shit. That if it ain't broke, don't fucking fix it.
Yeah, and
now it's broke. Now we got to fix it.
And you could make an argument that the offense wasn't broke. Like there's no reason to change the offense from last year. It was really productive.
I don't think I ever bitched about the offense last year. I might have like said some stupid shit about everyone.
I mean, like about everyone bitches about the play calling at some point or another. But
this year, it's like play calling, like the same consistent issues in play calling have happened every time it's been a problem. It's been the same problem every time.
Right, 100%.
The blocking has been the same problem every game. Like. So like the play calling, here's one thing that sticks out, like, and maybe it's just like not enough time for I can't see the all 22, so I can't really tell. But like on 3rd and 8, we're running 4-yard routes, and the team like defense knows that like we're gonna do that, so they sit at the first down line, let us catch it, and then they make the tackle instantly because they know that's where a route's going there no matter what. Because we do the same exact thing on 3rd down no matter what. It's the same play call or same design. It may not be the same design for all the other routes, but there is at least one route doing that exact,
Well, and you'll almost always see Charlie run, like one of the tight ends running a stick route of almost always.
Like I get like you have your plays that work and you want to do those ones every so often because you know they're going to work or you're comfortable doing them. But the list of like 3rd down plays that work or that you should run should be like 20 plays long, not 3. Like
we've talked about it a bunch of times this season too, just how predictable the offense is based on personnel packages and pre-snap motion. You can tell exactly like Jared Russ. When Jared Russ is in the game, pretty good chance it's a run play. When Jarrell Brock comes in the game, pretty good chance it's a pass play.
Well, they just now like started switching like Jared Russ into pass routes, but that was like the last 4 games of the season. Like prior to that, it was all runs. Like you said.
He was a tell just like Sam Buckner and Dylan Sainer. When they were on the field, it was a run play. I mean, Dylan Sainer was involved a little bit more in the passing game, but like Sam Buckner, if he was on the field, it was a run.
Yeah, Sam Buckner didn't like catch a pass until the Kansas State game of his like, the senior night.
His senior night, or whatever. And like Jared Russ, like they're working him a little bit more into the passing game, but he's still a huge tell for a run play and stuff like that. And like
his first pass caught, I'm pretty sure was against Texas.
Right. So I don't know that. And part of this too is part of the frustration too is the situation with the wide receivers, how they just seem to, I don't know if someone just doesn't trust somebody or whatever it is, but when Xavier and Jalen Knoll are the only ones getting any targets, like Daniel Jackson will get a target here and there, or like Daniel or Darren Wilson might get a target here and there. And Joe Skates had his pass or whatever that he caught, and then it got ripped out and stuff like that. Like, it seems to me like there's a trust issue between the coaching staff and the receiver room. I don't exactly know why. I mean, they know that Xavier and Jalen will do their job. They're good route runners. They're good pass catchers. They do what they're supposed to do. But like, it seems like beyond those two, there's a huge trust issue with those guys, and which is going to have to get fixed because you're losing Chase Allen and Charlie Kohler after the season, and all you got left, your number one tight end is Easton Dean, or unless Tyler Moore is ready to go or whatever, him. But the only guys that we've got that are coming back next year are really young and they have not played hardly any snaps. But even if Xavier Hutchinson doesn't come back, you'll still have Jalen Knoll, you'll still have Daniel Jackson, you'll still have you'll have Greg Gaines coming in. You'll have a couple freshmen. You'll have Xavier Townsend and Quaran Adams. Like lots of talent at the wide receiver position, and they're gonna have to use the receivers. And when you have a quarterback like Hunter Deckers that has the arm that he does, use that speed. Like if he becomes a good route runner, Quaran Adams can be your Tyreek Hill. That dude is so fast. Like, I don't know if anybody has watched Quaran Adams' high school tape, but he is like stupid fast. Like he's got at least Kane speed, maybe more than Kane speed. Like, he's so fast, and that can be your deep threat. And when you have a guy like Hunter that's got as big an arm as he does, and he's cool in the pocket, all that, he can throw a really good deep ball. One, you need an offensive line that can give him time to throw the deep ball, but two,
throw that football over a mountain.
Right? Yeah. But then two, you need to have receivers there that you're going to trust to catch those passes. Because if we're running the same offense next year with the personnel that we're going to have, especially with the lack of returning tight end experience, we're going to have problems if they're not going to use the wide receivers more, because there is talent at the wide receiver position, and there isn't talent at the tight end position, but it's really inexperienced. And
we can probably harp on this all day long, but like the fact of the matter is, for this season, like it's not going to change,
right?
Like we're going into game 12. The tendencies are the tendencies, and what's going to happen is going to happen. It's going to be the same through the bowl game. So now, what really is like, and I think, I'm hoping Matt Camp. I mean, I think he loves his coaching staff to the T. Like he'll probably die for them, and he's fought to get them pay raises over the years, like, rather than him pocketing the pay raises since he's been at Iowa State. But I think there has to have a tough conversation in that offensive room, and I don't like doing this because and maybe somebody should, but the Iowa State, like, we have to be more critical of this thing, because we've gotten to that point where Iowa State is a recognizable program where I think we can be better than obviously 6-5. So I think a change at offensive coordinator probably needs to happen.
It seems like the same situation like with Rudy Wade, where it's like he's a good friend of Campbell. He's a part of that original staff, but when they got bitched by Kansas State and then by Notre Dame, like at some point you got it. Like it became very apparent that they were lacking in that area, and he made a change. It's tough change, whatever. I mean,
and I don't think they have to go out. They definitely don't have to go outside the walls to fill the 2 positions that will open from this, right? So, offense coordinator would open if Tom Manning either A is let go or B elects to take another job as a head coach, because I know has in the previous looked for head coaching jobs in the MAC.
Right. And Akron is open.
There's going to be jobs open there. So let's just say figuratively, let's say good things happen. We don't have to fire Tom Manning. He gets a job.
Yep.
Now, he's probably going to take somebody from this staff with him, whatever.
But like,
it's somebody from the staff's going to leave and go with him. Like on the offensive side of the ball, he's going to take a guy that he likes. But you have the 2 replacements for 2 positions that will open from the downfall from this, right? So Tom Manning, the offense coordinator job goes open. Boom. Nate Shieldhouse takes the offense coordinator job. Who takes his spot? Kyle Kempt.
And the other option too is depending on how that all shakes out, is Kyle Kempt, has been an offensive analyst that the players really like him. It's, from everything I understand is that he's already has a pretty heavy hand in as far as how the offense is structured. It would be a big jump to go from like an offensive analyst to an offensive coordinator, but
I'm not saying Kyle Kempt will be offensive coordinator. I'm saying Nate Shieldhouse.
No, I'm saying that he could. I'm saying that, like, I'm throwing that out there as a possibility that Kyle Kempt could be an offensive coordinator.
I would you've moved your position coaches around too, but who's quarterback coach?
Joe Gordon. Shieldhouse? Joe Gordon.
Okay, well that probably wouldn't work. But anyway, so Shieldhouse is running backs coach,
running backs and receivers.
And isn't he pass game coordinator too?
No, I was
run game coordinator.
He's the run game coordinator. I think Joe Gordon is the passing game coordinator.
So they might have to move some things around, but like
they'll have to reshuffle.
Kyle Kemp's gonna have to be on that offensive coach staff if spots open.
Yeah, my fear is if Tom Manning were to get a head coach, and if he were to take anybody, he could and if the offensive coordinator position wasn't offered to Nate Shieldhouse, he could theoretically take Nate Shieldhouse with him to be the offensive coordinator at Akron. Now, I don't know, is being a dual position coach at a Power 5 school worse or better than being an offensive coordinator at a MAC school? I don't know.
But my thing with this though with Shieldhouse though, and I've been telling some people this, so if we don't take Shieldhouse for offensive coordinator, somebody else is going.
Somebody else is gonna.
We will never get him back.
I really want to keep Shieldhouse as long as we can. Yeah, I don't know. That'll be an interesting situation.
He's the most important under the radar coach that we have.
I agree, 100%. As far as he's a fabulous recruiter.
I would put his level of as current staff. I would put his level as like number 2. That you have to make happy and keep stay, because John Heacock probably ain't going nowhere.
He's not going
really
anywhere.
Have to worry about that.
He's not going anywhere.
Like, unless John Heacock get like a dream job as a head coach, he ain't going nowhere.
I don't know. I'm not actually I'm not like, unless he got like a Power 5 offer as a head coach. But
like let's just say theoretically, like Florida wanted to like go out of the limb and hire John Heacock, like he'd probably consider it. But other than that, like that's not gonna happen. So or if Campbell, God forbid, he were to leave, and he probably takes John Heacock with him.
Sure.
But so we assume John Heacock. So John Heacock's number 3. So Nate Shieldhouse number 2.
Yeah.
Keep him.
Yeah.
Keep him. One, because he's a good recruiter, really good recruiter.
Really good recruiter.
2, he's probably one of those up and coming coaches that you just don't want to let go.
Yeah, he's right now he's worth his weight in gold. You want to keep him as long as you possibly can. But
hey, looking at it now though, like if Alec Golish was still here, like looking at his offense in Tennessee, you're like, hey, that's kind of something we'd like to run.
Yeah, I do wonder how much it's his and how much it's Josh Heupel's, because
it's got to be like,
because Heupel is an offensive guy, and he was an offensive guy at UCF and all that. So I'm like I wonder how much is Golish and how much is Heupel, but I mean either way, Tennessee's offense is really good, and Alex Golish is in charge of it. So I don't know. Now obviously
what could have been.
Kind of interesting though that Golish, went from a tight ends coach at Iowa State, and now he's offensive coordinator at an SEC school. I mean, so good for him. I mean, that's some.
Maybe Taylor Moser is our next offensive coordinator.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's the next Maybe he's an offensive line coach. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Look, right here.
Offensive line coach, right
here. Right here.
Special teams.
There you go. Special teams coach.
Fill in positions.
Special teams.
Levi can kick rocks.
That's fine.
Hey, what a boy.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, as far as all that, as far as staff changes in the offseason, it's whatever. But for this weekend, for Friday, I mean, I don't know how much focus there will be on the actual game itself, because TCU is in worse shape than about anybody. They are down bad. I know, like, I was talking to Melissa or whatever, and she's basically saying, it's like, I just want to get this season over with. I just want to get the season done with or whatever. And she's like, and the reward for us suffering through this season is Sonny Dykes or whatever. Like, it doesn't sound like she's super jazzed about Sonny Dykes.
If you would have asked me like 3 weeks ago or like 2 months ago, like, hey, Sonny Dykes could be TCU, I'd probably be like, yeah, that's a really good hire. But now, like, you look at TCU or look at SMU and like just getting ass blasted a couple times, and you're
right,
like, Sonny Dykes.
Yeah, she's not super jazzed about it. And watch Gary Patterson go coach SMU.
That'd be lit.
That would be fun. Just switch coaches. But yeah, so I don't know. Because Zach Evans isn't playing this weekend. Quentin Johnson's not playing this weekend. So it's TCU's depleted big time. And even when they weren't depleted, they weren't playing well. So, hiccuping. TCU is really.
The story is Iowa State's probably going to win this one. We don't really have to waste too much time on it, but
probably not.
The whole everybody get in your goddamn seats early, because the senior class will be leaving us, and wave goodbye to them. And
100%.
Be there early, and I'm gonna guess the last one out of the tunnel is gonna be old Brock Purdy, and
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, that's going to be emotional, watching Brock Purdy take the field. I'm sure he'll be crying. I'm sure his family, I'm sure Campbell will be crying. I'm sure everybody will be crying.
We no longer get to look at Mama Purdy.
Fair enough. Yeah, so I wrote that article for today for the, thank you, Brock Purdy. What else we have? We had Greg Eisworth and Connor Sally came out at 5:00, I think. We have a bunch of other ones too. I think we got Greg Eisworth, Annie Wazarike, I think, is ready to go. I think we got, I don't know, a couple other people. Rory Walling. You wrote Rory?
Mm-hmm.
Aiden?
And Chase Allen.
And Chase Allen. We got those ready to go. I'll have Mike Rhodes ready to go. That whole group of guys we talked about last week. Aiden and I talked about last week too, about how, like, you're never going to find another collection of all timers like this on any other team. Like just with respect to their schools, like, you're not, like, the last time we saw like this much like all time talent for one school on one team was like 2001 Miami, where they had all of their best all time players were on one team. Well, Ohio State's kind of in that situation right now, where you've got Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, Charlie Kohler, Mike Rose, Annie Wazarike, Will McDonald, Greg Eisworth. At least those guys all having, virtual locks or very good cases to be considered the best all time at their position at Iowa State. And when you could probably make an argument for Xavier Hutchinson. I know maybe he hasn't played long enough, but like, if he came back next season and had another really good, like another 1,000-yard season, you could maybe make an argument for Xavier. I think Alan Lazard would probably still remain the favorite for that, but you've got a lot of really good players there, and they're all on the same team at the same time, but they're all graduating or leaving, or probably leaving in the case of Breece Hall, probably leaving at the same time. And it's a totally unique situation. And, these guys they're not just seniors. They're not just really good seniors, but these guys are the reason that Iowa State football is as highly thought of as it is now. Like we talked about down the pipe last week, how, like, with JD and March, how those guys were the ones, like him, like those two, and Allen and David and Kyle Count and those guys, those were the ones that turned it around. Those were the guys that turned the ship in the right direction.
Those guys poured the cement for the house. The guys that are leaving now,
it's cement.
It's concrete.
Okay, listen, first of all, it doesn't really matter for the sake of what I'm about to say.
Fair enough.
Shut the fuck up. All right. So the concrete has been poured for the foundation of the home, and in comes Brock Purdy with his Bob the Builder hat on and built the walls up. And now we need somebody to put the freaking roof on.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, those guys built. They turned in the right direction. These guys, but these guys are really the ones that built Iowa State football, and just like Matthias said, really, it's great. It's actually a really good metaphor.
Thank you. You almost didn't let me tell you.
Well, you got to get your concrete and your cement straight. But
same thing.
Do you go to the store and buy a loaf of flour? No. Anyways,
the fuck.
What?
That's what it is. Cement is to cement is to concrete as flour is to bread. It's the same thing. I
don't believe you.
Well, you cannot believe me if you want, but I'm right. But anyways, to return to Iowa State football.
You're wrong.
I mean, these guys are really the ones that built Iowa State football into being what it is. I mean, they're the ones that won the Fiesta Bowl. They went to the Alamo Bowl. They went to the Camping World Bowl. They had all these.
Not to mention Big 12 title.
And not to mention they went to a Big 12 title game. They finished first in the regular season. These guys did stuff that nobody has ever done. Not even what David and Allen. Those guys didn't even do it. Like these guys. I mean, they've taken Iowa State to totally new heights, and they are the reason that there are expectations for Iowa State now. They're the reason that we were before this season. We were talking about them going 10-2 or 11-1 or God forbid undefeated. Like that. These guys are the reasons that we even had the right to talk about that, and that we weren't the only ones talking about that. It wasn't like a bunch of Iowa State homers saying, "Oh, 10-2, 9-3," and then everyone else was like, "Now 7-5." Like even outsiders were talking about. Like people were, people in national personalities were talking about Iowa State as a 10-2 or 11-1 football team, and these guys are the reason that those conversations are being had or were had, and they're the reason that. Iowa State is sitting like 23rd or whatever it is in the recruiting classes now, because these guys have built that. These guys have built the house on top of that foundation that Alan Lazard and Marchie Murdoch and Dave Montgomery and Joel Lanning. They're on top of that foundation that they laid.
Damn right.
Aiden, you look like you wanted to say something, so that's why I was trying to wrap up.
No, you're chilling.
All right, but and we're gonna see these guys in Jack Trice Stadium for the last time. The last game they ever play might be like the Cheez-It Bowl or something like that in Orlando. But this is the last time we're going to see them walk through the tunnel at Jack Trice Stadium. And I hope to God that they give Brock Purdy the opportunity to make a speech in front, for the fans, just like George Niang did. I don't know if they will, but I hope they do. I really like Brock deserves it. He deserves to have that moment to talk to the fans. I know they won't, but he deserves it, and I hope they do.
That brings up the question: is Brock the GOAT of Iowa State football?
Yeah.
I don't know who else it would be.
Troy Davis.
Troy Davis. Get fucked. I'm sorry.
He ran for 2,000 yards 2 seasons in a row and was a Heisman finalist.
Oh my God.
Did you know that? Yeah. Piss off.
I mean, you can throw Troy Davis in the conversation with Brees for best running back of all time, but
how many bowl games did Troy Davis play in?
Not a damn one.
How many Big 12 championship games did Troy Davis play in?
Not a damn one.
Don't give a shit.
I mean,
personal accolades don't win us crap.
I mean, Brock Purdy is the greatest quarterback. I don't think it's even arguable that he's the greatest quarterback of all time at Iowa State. And as far as impact on the program, I mean, I don't think there's even an argument, for anybody else there either. As far as what he meant to Iowa State, I think it's Brock Purdy easily. I mean, who would you even talk about as being in that same conversation as Brock Purdy
played in the NFL?
Well, Brock Purdy's probably going to play in the NFL too. So
he hasn't made it there yet.
Oh my God!
I'm using all Twitter arguments right
now.
Yeah,
you're using all the really dumb Twitter arguments. And that's just part of it. Is that here's a good one. Oh, this is a good one. This would piss off some Texas fans. He's like, Bijan Robinson is the Troy Davis of Texas football. Lots of yards, great back, losing team. Fair enough. Troy Davis did have a lousy team around him. You are correct, but you know what? The only position group on that team that wasn't lousy.
Offensive line.
The offensive line. The offensive line was very good.
Like 3 guys that went to the NFL.
Yes. Troy Davis's offensive line was really good.
Look, okay. This got me triggered again.
Get after it.
Look, I am not ripping Troy Davis whatsoever. Like, I couldn't run.
Good running back. Great running back.
Like, okay, the 2,000-yard seasons, they're great.
Still
Obviously, people still talk about it to this day. Great. Good running back at the time. Great. But at the end of the day, like, what else was there?
I mean, the dude averaged like 50 carries a game. All they did was give it to him.
If you take the amount of carries that Troy Davis had and gave them to Breece Hall and then multiplied it by the times that his yards per carry, like, he would be well past. Like, he'd be past.
Well, I mean, career yards per carry, they're almost identical.
Yeah, so he'd be past. It'd be past. Like, and he scored more touchdowns already. Like,
and also Breece is involved in the passing game.
So, like, I mean, awesome. So it's like, I don't know.
Here's the argument. I'm not like trying to rip on Mark, but he's asking good questions. Did you see Troy play? I didn't. I mean, like, I was alive, but I didn't really like see him play.
In the stadium? Hell no.
No, yeah. I mean, like, I've seen highlights and stuff like that, and I'm sorry, but you can't convince me that a 5'9" running back that ran a 4.7 at the draft combine that had averaged 50 carries a game and ran behind one of the best offensive lines in Iowa State history is better than Breece Hall. I'm sorry. You just can't convince me of that.
Again, I'm not like.
Yeah, it's not dissing Troy Davis. We're just telling you Breece Hall is incredible.
You can have the opinion. People can have the opinion that Troy Davis is the best running back. That's fine. I can have the opinion that Breece Hall is better.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think if you're looking at the greatest player in the history, just the greatest player in the history of Iowa State football, I think it's Brock Purdy by a landslide. I think
honestly, the only player that you could compare to Brock Purdy, and it's not even in Iowa State football, it's George Niang. It's like a guy who has all the accolades. He's a great leader, and it's like everyone
incredibly likable. Does it?
Yeah. I don't know what people outside of Iowa State think of Brock Purdy or George Niang, but it's just guys that we love more than most people.
Oh yeah,
a 20-year-old kid. But
and even like George Niang at least was in a basketball program that like has had really good players in the past, like Fred and Jeff Grayer and all that. I don't need to go through all that, but Brock was like the first really good player that also played on good teams or whatever. And so, I mean, like, what he accomplished, not just from a durability perspective, because he's played every single game since he started playing. He hasn't missed a damn start.
So go ahead, Aiden, and I'll switch.
I was just going to say, isn't he the first quarterback since Brett Meyer to start a whole season?
Austin Arnaud started the 2010, every game in the 2010 season, I think.
Jerome Tiller started against Missouri that year.
Austin Arnaud. No, Austin Arnaud did play. He started every game one year. I know for a fact that he did.
So there's two types of comments that are around the same like this. So Corey put in here, are we going to lose? We're going to lose a lot of guys this year. Do we have enough recruiting to pick up right where he left off? And then Joshua Brown commented as well on Facebook, saying hopefully we have the equivalent or better for the replacement. I'm assuming you mean Hunter Deckers for quarterback there for Brock Purdy. So I think there was apparently some rumblings that Iowa State was going to look at a transfer quarterback for this upcoming season, but just for like depth, I guess. But like, so people were worried about Hunter Deckers not the guy, but no, Hunter Deckers is going to be your day one starter next year.
Okay, it's 2009, not 2010. 2009, he started every game.
2009, because Jerome Tiller started against Nebraska. Get your facts, Levi.
I know.
But in terms of, do we have good enough recruiting to pick up right where we left off? Are we going to pick up right where we left off this year? Well, if we're finished 6-6, yeah, we probably will pick up right where we left off because next year's team can be about a 6-6 team. But there's a lot of talent on the team and in the recruiting aspect of the world that we haven't seen on the field just yet. But I think this is a team that's probably going to take some bumps and bruises along the way while they find their footing. But also, you could also look at Oklahoma State as like an example of this, right? So like Oklahoma State wasn't like flashy pick in the preseason. Like they lost pieces last year and they were whatever. And they had to replenish in some spots. And now look at them this year. They're playing for the Big 12 title. So, anything can happen. But there is talent coming, and especially this recruiting class, that there's a lot of studs in this class as well. So they I guess they have the potential to surprise us. But also, as a fan, I would go into next season expecting to take some lumps and bruises along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like I don't think Iowa State's in this total thing where we're going to like drop down to 3 or 4 wins. I don't think we're there.
No.
I mean, I think we're still a pretty decent shot at being a bowl team. I don't think that should be a huge issue.
I mean, just looking at it already. So like next year, you're probably going to win, against South Dakota. You're probably going to, who do we play in the other non-conference game other than Iowa?
Good question. I'll pull that up.
You're going to Iowa City next year, so
yeah, Ohio. I think is the right. I think that sounds right.
So you're probably going to beat those 2 teams. You're going to Iowa City next year. You can call that whatever you want, but probably going to beat Kansas. Trying to look elsewhere, a team that would be down bad. But
so you'd have Texas Tech at home with a new coach. So that could be something. TCU could be down still. They'll have Max Duggan back, but
there's potential to get 6 wins still there. So
yeah, I mean, Texas. Who knows what Texas will even look like? West Virginia. I don't know. You get West Virginia at home, and I don't know. There's not a lot.
It's just safe to say, like next year's team, like you could say, okay, we probably could make a bowl game, but just also go in with like a lower expectation.
Right.
Like there could be a lot of lumps. Like we're probably gonna be pissed off on Twitter about games.
Sure.
Like we lost by 3. We could have had it if Hunter Deckers threw it 5 yards further or something like that. It's just gonna be a team that's it's gonna be another like Brock.
They're gonna be going through growing pains.
Yeah, they're gonna grow through it. So. Again, like as some other people have commented in here, there's like hidden talent and all that stuff. And there certainly is.
There is.
Could be pleasantly surprised, and I hope we are pleasantly surprised. So I guess I'm not like the guy that's like saying, "Oh, yep, next year 4 wins. That's all that's gonna happen while they learn the way." They're like, "Nah, you can learn along the way and still make a bowl game next year." Now you would consider that a win for like considering the
if Iowa State losing all of what they're going to lose and then getting back to a bowl game with the lack of experience next year, I think would be a really nice. I think that would be a really nice season. I know it's the bullshit teams care about 6 and 6, but I would say I would make the argument to somebody that yes, we're losing lots of experiences in snaps. Like losing a lot of experience, but the talent level of the people on the field will go up. The raw talent and raw athleticism.
The one really thing I like about Matt Campbell's style of player development, or how he uses player development, but is over the course of the year we have a shitload of people seeing snaps. Like so they're getting experience before they even need the experience.
Right.
Where other programs, let's say like Alabama, obviously they just plug and play and away they go. But like it's just for comparison, their backups aren't seeing the same amount of snaps like that our backups are, and that's a good thing.
Look at a guy like you look at guys like Craig McDonald and Bo Freiler. I mean, like when Greg Eisworth leaves, Bo Freiler is going to step right in there and be a dude.
Bo Freiler has been playing a shitload of snaps.
Yes, he has. He's played a ton.
And he's a true.
He didn't really play at the beginning of the season, but he's really come on of late.
He's played every game, I think.
Miles Purchase has played a shit
Miles Purchase played a ton of snaps last weekend. Mm-hmm. I mean, and he and TJ Tampa would be the guys you would look at it being like the 2 corners going forward.
TJ Tampa's played a lot of snaps. He has some things he can work on, but he's really athletic and
he's so athletic.
Not too really worried about that. But like the linebackers have been switching for years. Like Eric Horn and
Jerry Vaughn have played a ton of snaps.
Yeah, so you're not really worried. Gary Vaughn played the entire game last week.
And who's the other one that's played? He's played some snaps too. He was a gray shirt at Iowa Western last year, and then he came in this year. I'm trying to remember what the hell his name is. Like Deontay Davis. Does that sound right?
Maybe.
He played a bunch. He played some snaps early at the beginning of the season. But like if you look back at that secondary, especially like I mean, like, I don't know about you guys, but you see Isham Young, Craig McDonald, and Bro Freiler back there, as your three safeties. Like, I'm good with that. I'm totally fine with that. I'm fine with that, especially with TJ Tampa and Miles Purchase with another offseason as being like the dudes going forward. Like, I feel pretty good about that secondary, actually.
I feel decent, like, with the linebackers that come back. Like, it's not like it's going to be like the star-studded cast that you have now, but it's the guys that can get the job done.
Right.
And maybe they become a star-studded cast. But
and then you guys, other guys coming up too. You got like Cole Peterson. You got Will McLaughlin coming in, and
just finding the guys that, those guys too. But like, just finding the guys. I think the hardest part is going to be finding the consistency on the defensive line.
Yeah.
Especially at the end spot. We just don't have.
Blake Peterson's played well the last couple weeks.
Yeah, he's played well, but he doesn't have that explosiveness like Annie does and Will McDonald does. We don't have that, like, and maybe we haven't seen it yet from a guy yet. It's coming, but
J.R. Singleton looks like he's a nice player.
We don't have a guy that has done that just yet that can be the quote-unquote sack master of the team that we have seen built up yet. So.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to – and that's another one that kind of gets lost in Zach Peterson. Zach Peterson has a really nice season this year.
Cole Peterson has a sack this year too, so.
Cole Peterson does?
Or not Cole Peterson, he's linebacker. The other Peterson.
Blake.
Yeah, there you go.
Blake's got a sack, and
we have too many Petersons.
Because we have Zach, Blake, Cole, and like we've got a lot of Petersons. But like,
who are you guys? We're the Petersons.
Yeah.
Are you all related?
You're related? No.
I think the defense, the nice thing about the defense and how much they rotate is everybody that's going to be playing next year has played lots of snaps. So they're not like, there's nobody that they're going to be working in that like hasn't played. And
we just had a good funny there, and Levi just busted right over it.
I know.
I didn't even hear what it said. What was it?
Doesn't matter now. You just screwed us over.
Was it a Peterson joke? I don't know. The offense is where it gets tricky because obviously Hunter Deckers has played, but it's still like not like a ton of snaps. And then like Eli Sanders and Deion Sanders have played, not gotten a ton of snaps.
Experience on the offense.
On Jarrell Brock, I shouldn't leave out Jarrell Brock. I love Jarrell Brock. But then your wide receivers and your offensive line could be where you're losing like a lot of depth, and you might have guys that haven't played a lot in the last year or whatever it is. Especially wide receiver, you're gonna have a lot of guys out there that have been on the field but don't have a lot of catches or targets on them. So I don't know.
We're counting our chickens before they hatch.
We absolutely
we really went we just went in depth 20 minutes on a team that's a year over.
Yeah. 2023 is really where this is going to kick in.
We have 9 months until that. We have to worry about that, and we just went 20 minutes on it.
2023 legitimately could be a really fun season, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's when the Bears are going to be good too.
Are they?
Yeah, because now you'll be 2.5 years removed.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got.
You guys see that so his son played in a playoff?
Yeah, he got like they were heckling Nagy at his son's high school game.
Okay, look, I'm all for like saying bad things to Matt Nagy right now. Like I'll say it to his face.
Yeah.
But God damn it, don't do it at his kid's
Not his kid's high school game.
Have some damn respect.
That's tacky.
At the next game,
it's really tacky.
Like how? Okay, let's talk. I got two.
Go for
minutes
it. Go for it.
Switch to something else, but. Like, how shitty of a Thanksgiving Day game is this going to be? Like, the Bears down bad.
Tim Boyle versus Andy Dalton.
Stars on the Bears, other than like David Montgomery is like the star on the Bears right now that's going to play Thanksgiving Day. Allen Robinson probably out. Khalil Mack out for the season. Justin Fields out with bruised ribs. We have freaking Andy Dalton versus Tim Boyle or Doyle, whatever the frick is. Nobody knows. He's so bad, nobody knows his name. Like, he might be playing. Like, Jared Goff might play. But even then, at that point, you're basically playing Andy Dalton versus Andy Dalton. Like, I'm sorry,
that's electric.
That you literally
appointment
have to watch
TV.
The Bears versus the Lions. Like I thought there'd be something better out. Like, Justin Fields would make Thursday's game worth watching just entirely on itself. But he is like, maybe he hurt himself on purpose. He's like, I want fucking Nagy gone. So, like, bruise my ribs for me really quick. Like, get me the hell out of here. I don't know.
You know what would make that game more entertaining?
Don't say Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky. He's having a kid. So there's going to be a third Trubisky.
So the kid's going to be intercepted.
Yeah, so the kid... the kid's going to be...
How did he get his wife pregnant? Like, how he can't...
He clearly... He should have missed. Like... He clearly would have missed that.
People forget Mitch Trubisky led two Matt Nagy coach teams to the playoffs.
Listen. Khalil Mack was still on that team. Let's say
Mitch Trubisky was also on that team.
Khalil Mack did it.
Mitchell.
And down the stretch last year, that was literally David Montgomery on that offense.
You remember when Mitch Trubisky went to a Pro Bowl for no reason at all? Like,
yes.
No one handed it off better than number 10. All right.
David Montgomery put that team on his back though last year. That's how he got to be the fifth. That's how he got to be fifth in the league in rushing last year. They literally turn around, hand it to David. Boom, hand it to David. Hand it to David. Oh, David ran over. No. Okay, hand it to him again.
All I know,
let's hand it to Cordell Patterson real quick, then hand it to David again.
All I know is that the Bears don't get some shit figured out, they're going to waste Justin Fields, and Justin Fields is going to end up as a bust. And it's going to be a huge, huge bummer.
That's why they're going to hire Ryan Day.
That would be interesting.
And Matt Campbell's
going to go to Ohio State. And then we're going to all panic. Because we're going to all panic because nobody here knows who we would actually go out and hire.
We would hire Ryan Day's son.
Oh, how old is this kid?
I have no idea, but I care, Mark. Right?
Hire Mitch Trubisky.
Ryan Day isn't going to be the coach of the Bears.
It's actually his alter ego, Ryan Knight. All right, what do we else? We got anything else to talk about today?
Basketball plays Xavier. We hope they win.
All right, yep. Basketball. Yep, better try to beat Xavier. That'd be great.
Hey, if they can shoot that was like they unlocked the key a little bit.
Yeah,
there again.
It turns out when you make baskets, you win baskgoal games.
Right. Yeah, fucking Kunch was on fire, couldn't miss. Freaking goddamn Travis Inaruna.
Yeah,
he finally decided to score.
I'm pretty sure the guy's name from the Netherlands is not Travis.
Sorry. Tristan, sorry. Why did I say Travis? I don't know why I was thinking Travis. Anyways, Tristan.
It's like we have an import player. His name's Kyle.
He decided to score a basket. So, if those two dudes can, I don't know, even put 50% of that output, the team will be so much better. But
yeah,
I think Tristan Aruna really took a step forward just because.
Travis.
Yeah.
So Travis, it seemed like he was a lot
Travis
more out on the court. I in the first couple games, it looked like he was kind of feeling stuff out, but he took it to the rack a couple times and it was nice.
It was like he was on the court and he's like, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. So it took him a few games to get acclimated.
But
he's got all the skills. He just
absolutely.
Maybe it's just something something needs to click in the head, And then obviously Tyrese Hunter is going to be pretty nice, but he's still got some acclimation to do because he you can see he struggles sometimes to kind of pick up the speed of the game or just bigger guys because he's going all against some of these teams that we played are really bad, but there's still some good guys on there. Each team has a guy that can do good things.
Mm-hmm.
So the real kicker, we'll see how they do. Xavier. Obviously, they're going to defend really well. Xavier always does. They've been scoring pretty good. John Rothstein calls them hell in the cell, so I don't know.
Cool. That sounds fun.
We'll really know what's going to happen, I guess. Even if they I guess the goal would be don't get blown out. If you don't get blown out, then you're probably in the game. And so at that point, what the hell? You're in Brooklyn. Anything can happen. Iowa State's going to play more games in Brooklyn than Kyrie Irving is.
Classic.
Shout out to you, Dylan. The earth is not flat.
Anyways.
We got some picks.
Yeah.
Looky here. A whole 3-game lead.
So, okay. This is hilarious, though. Everybody has touched the lead once. But also, my downfall started when Iowa State started losing.
Yeah. Yep. So we're 14.5-point favorites. Okay. Anyways, continue.
So, my first pick, taking Big Brother over Michigan. This is maybe Michigan's year, but I don't buy it.
Nah.
I'm so confused.
I don't buy it.
Nah.
And then this will be a double pick for Levi. Taking the money line, K-State at Texas, because this is officially the first Fade Texas YouTube show out there.
Yeah.
And then I'm taking the over in Miami, Ohio at Kent State.
Based on what?
Based on that was the highest over-under I could find.
and you still took the over.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so
this is a PSA from Wide Right Natty Light. Do not take gambling advice from us.
Yeah, we're all bad at this, by the way.
4-0. I'm 7-1 in the last 2 weeks.
We're also
literally your justification was it was the highest one I could find.
That's what I do every week.
Anyways, Ohio State, Michigan. I'm gonna mega take Ohio State on the 6.5 there. I think they'll win by 30. I mean, they're so good. Because last week my pick was for Michigan State to cover 19 points, and I almost got it.
Instead, they finished
in the first quarter.
Point shy.
They almost got it in the first quarter. Yeah. So no, I'm not no longer an Ohio State doubter. I'm gonna just take them to cover everything. Kansas State on the money line because I'm taking them to cover 3. So I'm gonna also take Kansas State on the money line. I think Texas is a.
You could either double up there or hedge your bet.
That's true. I could. But no, I'm going to double up. And I'm going to because Texas is a dumpster fire. They've got nothing. I think they've pretty much mailed it in for this season. They're done. 65.5 is a pretty high and over under. That's really high. I'm going to take the under just for fun. Yeah, and then I already said it. Taking Kansas State. +3 against Texas, but I'm also taking them on the money line because Aiden took them. Matthias, I believe you're.
You go.
I think you're up.
Maybe you're gonna go. Okay, literally. Okay, so first of all, state of Michigan, as we all know, a complete dumpster fire, like just a trash hole. Everybody hates Michigan. Like the state sucks. We've been over this, right?
Holland is cool. The rest of it's not great.
What?
Doesn't help they have Detroit.
Holland, you ever been to Holland, Michigan? Holland, Michigan's cool.
Why would I go to Michigan? Michigan sucks.
Because I lived in Holland for a while, and Holland is a really cool town. Like Holland and Grand Haven, and
you lived there. So
fair enough. You know what? I understand that. I get that.
Also has Detroit. The Lions are fucking garbage. The Pistons suck. Like they weren't even good.
The Tigers are also bad.
They couldn't even hold Michael Jordan's jockstrap. They just pretended to. Like Isaiah Thomas, still salty. Like
fake
for whatever reason.
They're fake good. They weren't actually good at basketball. They were just good at punching people.
He met the criteria, but he wasn't selected. Also, nobody selects the state of Michigan. Ohio State covers. Let's go. Roll on to number 2. You know what would be a double LOL in this one if both Kansas State and Texas could lose? Because one, Kansas State fans are
they're the worst.
Unbearable people in the history of the freaking world. Like, who do you think you are that you live in Manhattan, Kansas, that you think you are better than everybody else? That place is a fucking shithole. Like, I was just there. Like, you drive into the town, the sign that says Manhattan, Kansas, welcome to Manhattan, Kansas, was dirty. It looked like a baby took a shit all over it. Nobody had washed it. Like,
and also, the Taco John's was on fire when we went.
And the Taco John's
was
on fire. Your tailgating sucks. Your atmosphere around the stadium is deplorable. Like, you can't even pave your parking lots right. Like, you just look like you took fucking Sharpie markers over a bunch of gravel, colored it in. Boom, there's your parking lots. Get with it. All right?
Does that mean you're picking them to win?
Yeah, I have to.
Because also horns down. Just...
But in reality, though, like it would be a perfect world if Kansas State and Texas both lost.
So what we call in the biz a crater game, where you hope that a crater just opens up underneath the stadium and everyone falls in.
Yeah,
it would be like like when Rocky and Apollo at the end of Rocky, is it Rocky 2 where they both have like it's Rocky 3 where they.
It's the one where they box.
Yeah, and they both punch at the same time. Like, that's Kansas State and Texas, like, murdering each other at the same time. They both die.
It's very complicated. What are you doing on the over-under?
Give me the under on that one.
That's a lot of points.
What?
Nerd.
Well, I don't really have, like, Miami, Ohio. Like, come on now. Like, Ben Roethlisberger's old as shit. Like, he ain't coming back to play, so they can't even score. They can't even score 30 at least, let alone Kent State.
What does Ben Roethlisberger have to do with anything besides attending Miami of Ohio about 15 years ago?
He went there, didn't he?
He went there.
Yeah, but why is that relevant to how they play right now? What about Julian Edelman at Kent State?
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares, yeah.
Fair enough.
That's all I gotta say about
that. So you're taking the under, and then you're taking us to cover TCU?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I just gotta roll with it.
Just keep riding it.
If it's for the sake of losing this contest, I don't care. Just gotta ride it.
Just keep riding the train, yeah. I honestly,
after this week, there's really no chance for me to make a comeback, so I got to hit on all these.
You got to hit them all, yeah.
So honestly, you should probably just fade.
You should just fade Aiden and just hope that they all go the other direction.
Well, then I would tie him, so it doesn't really matter.
Right, but you can at least tie him.
But then you could win.
But I'm not fading Aiden. I'm actually agreeing with him on everything but the over-under.
It doesn't matter. I'm already lost. It's gone. I got my point across about Kansas State and Michigan, all right?
It looks like Josh took Oklahoma State -4 to win Bedlam.
I'm with Josh for that.
I would probably, if I know Matias and I don't make picks on that, but I probably would actually take Oklahoma State on that one too. Actually, no, I would take Oklahoma to cover because Oklahoma State always shits their pants in Bedlam.
Yeah, but then they're going to play the game again the next week. So, like, I mean,
right, and then Oklahoma State's going to win the Big 12 title as a 2-loss team and not go anywhere. So,
I mean, I would take that scenario. Hilarious scenario, actually.
It would be very funny, yes. So give me Oklahoma to cover that.
Okay, also, speaking of Oklahoma State and Kansas State for this matter, where do these fan site accounts, who do they think they are?
Yeah, Oklahoma State fans I generally get along with really well, but like that one.
The Kansas State thing did it too.
It wasn't fan side. It was like Sideline Sports. I think is what it was.
Yeah, whatever the hell. Like nobody's heard of these things, and they're just randomly popping off against Iowa State. Like you're not even a real website. Back your fucking truck up and get the hell out of here.
Well, he's like Oklahoma State's got 10 win. Whatever. How many 10-win seasons since whatever the fucking Iowa State's never got a 10-win season. We're all like, okay, well, one absolute poverty program if you're measuring your historical success against Iowa State's. One, that's one. Two,
my dog has more Twitter followers than your fucking website does, so piss off.
It's like
just fucking piss off.
Good burn. You got him. Do we got anything else left for this week? I don't think so. We're kind of saving the games for when we got full crew. Our Aiden versus the 90s and old heads, new trends. We've been kind of saving those for full crews.
Make a new segment that's called Matias Rants about Troy Davis.
No.
Starting now.
I veto, hard veto.
Shame
that you don't run the show anymore, Levi.
That's true. I have
Matias' ranting corner. What's he going to rant about today? Sideline sports.
And Hydras.
So yesterday I had a stuffy nose, and I had to clear up my nostrils a little bit. Just pop the valve real quick. Cleared up the nostrils real nice. Yeah, I'm telling you, it works.
All right.
Just take a quick whiff of some anhydrous.
Just get after
Let it flow through your body.
All right. We're going to wrap up for this week on that note.
Do not take any advice from me.
Yeah, Matias is like top 5 people you don't take advice from.
Like, if you were to accidentally not close that anhydrous tank, and then you'd probably die.
He's like top 3 people you should take advice from on this show, and he's not 1 or 2.
Yeah,
I'd say he's top 4.
Top 4.
At least I'm not a fucking named after the deuce.
What?
Number 2.
What?
Okay, so you say I'm not 1 or 2 if I'm in the top 3 of taking advice, so at least I'm not a deuce.
Okay, let's just end this show. This is horrible.
Freaking idiot.
Aiden, sign us off.
Well,
get us out of here.
Levi doesn't get poop jokes. That's not fun.
Get us out of here. No, I got the poop joke. I just refuse to acknowledge it.
Just like the Petersons.
Just like the what?
Just like the Petersons.
Thank you for watching the Nightcap. That's all we got for you, unless Matthias, you got one last thing.
I'm done derailing for today. Like I did. That's like my thing. We should.
It's gonna be the off season, and like our content is gonna whittle down to like we're gonna do our normal thing, and at the very end we're just gonna like all take like a huff of nitrous, and we're just gonna get off.
It's called anhydrous, sir.
I said nitrous.
Oh well, okay, well,
like laughing gas.
We'll do anhydrous.
Well, okay, you can huff anhydrous, and I will huff nitrous, and we'll see who dies first.
Definitely could be you because I'm a man.
All right, get us out of here, Aiden.
All right, for Levi Stevenson, Matthias Schwarzkopf, I'm Aiden Wyatt. Hope to see you on Friday. Go Cyclones.